Media back at you for daily sports analysis. We're gonna start off with the New England Patriots falling to 2-9 on the season. I called it. How we feeling?
I mean, rock bottom has been achieved, and I didn't think it would get worse than Germany. I didn't think it could get worse than the Jack Jones incident. This summer even starting, Jack Jones not showing up to the hotel, J.C. Jackson not showing up to the hotel. I mean, it's a culmination of just a bad year. I think they're an average team. I don't think they're a bad team. I just think everything's going wrong for them right now. Quarterback position, quarterback room's just a mess. That game yesterday by Mac Jones might have been his worst game, definitely at least his second worst game. He couldn't even complete a pass against the team. I thought before the game quit. I thought that Brian Daboll, the Giants coach, did not have a grasp on that team. They were giving up points left and right. They were like 28th in points, I think I remember seeing. And it's just, I don't know what else can go wrong, honestly. I don't really understand what else can go wrong in this season. I mean, between missed field goals, missed blocking assignments, guys not showing up, it's just there's nothing else. Nothing else is gonna be good with this season. I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first time in history where a team has held a team to 10 points in back-to-back weeks and lost both games. Imagine that. Imagine being a player for the Patriots on the defense, holding the other team to 10 points in back-to-back weeks and losing both games. You can't put up 11. That's something right there. That is tough to be a defensive player.
Against two teams, too.
Anemic offenses.
Like two teams that are not great offensively and not great defensively. Like, if you're facing the 85 Bears, sure.
Yeah.
You're not going to score 30 points. But the Commanders, even the Commanders game, you had to get a fumble at the 25-yard line of the Commanders to even get a touchdown there. So you've scored about one or two real touchdowns the last 3 or 4 weeks against teams that are under 500. Like the Commanders are 4-8, the Giants are 4-8.
Now 4-8, yep.
And Indy is 6-5, sure. But I mean, the combined record of those teams is a 500 team, or under 500,
and you just look really bad against them.
You're not moving the ball either. If you were moving the ball and you're just stalling out in like the 20 and you're kicking field goals, it's bad enough. But you're not even moving the ball. You're barely getting it over midfield.
Yeah, last year at least they could get into Nick Folk range.
Yeah.
This year, I mean, you don't even know what Ryland's range is right now after that.
I mean,
but
a 30. What was it?
They
30?
Can't even complete a drive.
What was it? 35-yarder that he missed yesterday?
That was a 35-yarder, I think.
I mean,
37.
And then I'm watching the Philly game. Jake Elliott. This is how important kickers are. 59 yards in the driving rain with wind, and he hits a 59-yarder on grass
to save the game.
59-yard. And Chad Ryland. I understand it was raining a little bit in New Jersey, but 35-yarder on turf. Come on. And Nick Folk, I saw something, last point that I'm going to make. 95.5% of his field goals made this year.
Yeah.
Could have had him. You have Chad Ryland, who I think's made like
4th round pick.
70 to 80% of his free throws, of his field goals. It makes a difference.
Yep. Not good. I mean, I don't know. I honestly thought it was going to be a 0-0 tie to end the game with the way the first half was looking. And then, of course, you finally put your one, good wide receiver to use, and then he gets knocked out with a concussion, which also should have been a penalty and probably an ejection from the game as well. Not great, and it clearly Bills lost this team. This team just doesn't care anymore, and I don't know how many plays Ezekiel Elliott was in for yesterday, but I'm sure it wasn't too many. Because if you look at most of the games this season, the drives that they do have where they get a real touchdown out of start with Zeke having the ball and being able to get down the field. I don't know what's going on with Stevenson, but the teams, I guess the teams really know what's going to happen when Stevenson's in because he really hasn't been able to do as much as we've seen him do in the past. And Zeke kind of just makes the field wide open.
I also just remembered you have Hunter Henry on your team, right? Has he like caught a pass the last 3 games? I don't even remember him being out there. I remember them panning to him, looking like he was hurt on the sidelines, but I mean, I don't even notice him out there. Him, I would. My 2 biggest disappointments this year was Josh Uche and Hunter Henry. I mean, Josh Uche disappeared. I did not notice him once yesterday, and he wants 15 to 20 million. I just saw a report. Like,
Yeah, he hasn't done anything all year.
he hasn't done anything. I mean, he's going up against a terrible offensive line. The last 3 weeks, I haven't noticed him. Hunter Henry doesn't catch anything. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm wondering how much of that was Matt Judon just taking pressure away from Josh Uche, and he was just thriving last year through it. So with that, the Patriots are going to move on. Who do we have next? Chargers.
Chargers on Sunday.
Chargers look really bad too.
Doesn't matter.
But the Patriots are the stink of stink.
It's going to be a little bit more exciting because Herbert is obviously better than Tommy DeVito, but both teams just look lost right now.
Yeah.
Staley is the worst coach in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, boy.
Yeah, Bill has that over him. So we'll move into the Bruins next. Coming off, they lost to the Red Wings.
Mm-hmm. Lost the last 2
Lost
out of
the
3.
Rangers.
They had another big win against a full and healthy Florida Panthers squad.
Yep.
Or I think maybe one player was hurt for them, but big win against Florida. And then the turkey and stuffing kind of got to them on Friday and Saturday. Friday was just an utter embarrassment. It was they should be embarrassed for losing that game. Obviously, the Rangers are a little better team than the Red Wings, so it would have been it should have been tougher for them to score because both teams are on the top end of goals allowed per game. Obviously, the Bruins lost that battle, giving up 7 goals to their 4. One of the points I want to make about the Florida game, though, was they were up 2-1, and I forget who it was on the Panthers, but they had a partial breakaway, and Allmark makes a huge leg stop to stop the Panthers from tying, and then the Bruins eventually go down and score, going up 3-1. A point I want to make about the Rangers game that I don't think happened in the Detroit game was Montgomery took a well-timed timeout. It was huge. The Bruins ended up scoring 2 goals in 24 seconds to tie it, and then they just kind of went back to, whatever. And I don't think Montgomery called a timeout in the Detroit game when they were kind of sliding. And they were saying in the Rangers game that he was regretting that he didn't take some of his timeouts earlier in the game last season. So obviously he took that into account this year in the Rangers game at least. But I think with this team, you need to know when to take timeouts. If we're down 2 goals, 3 goals, just take the timeout. It's not gonna, the worst that can happen is it just makes it worse. It's not going to do anything, anything worse than that. It should make it better, honestly. But I think the team was a little sluggish. Like I said, I think the turkey and stuffing got to them. They need to step it up again tonight when they play the Columbus Blue Jackets, who aren't really doing too well this year so far. So they've got that going for them.
I think this was the type of stretch that the Bruins needed. I think that they have been, I wouldn't call them lucky, but I would say that they've been certainly a product of good fortune so far. I think between health and all that stuff, I understand Grzelcyk's gotten hurt and McAvoy got suspended, but I would say compared to these other teams like a Florida, Florida didn't have their top two defensemen the first 15 games of the year. 15 games of the year. Tampa loses their starting goalie. I just think that the Bruins have had some good fortune, and I think that it will eventually crash down on them. Not to the point where they won't make the playoffs, but I think they're going to go through some tough stretches because I don't think they're as good a team as last year. I think everybody knows that. I don't think they have as much firepower up front as they did post trade deadline last year. Um, but I think they're entering a relatively easy stretch now, where I think they have Columbus, San Jose, I believe Arizona coming up as well. So those are the games that you should win. They have they have Toronto coming up as well. But I mean, if you're winning these games against these crappy teams, I think they're going to make the playoffs and possibly even make some noise. But I think these type of stretches earlier in the year are definitely good for a team.
Yeah, I think their first and third line are like really solid.
Yeah.
It's the second and the fourth. It's a little shaky.
Mm.
And then of course they have decent defenders. Low Rise really stepping up a lot.
He got sent down, unfortunately, I think.
Oh, did he?
Matty Grizz.
That's unfortunate because I was really excited to see Low Rise play.
I was too. Yeah.
Especially the Dallas game looked really good.
Yeah, he played in the Detroit game, and then Grizzly came back, and so
He's had his defensive shortcomings, but I still like seeing him play.
Yeah, just offensively, it's exciting. And then the Red Wings, they've kind of had the Bruins' number so far this year, so that's tough. Hopefully, yeah, they can build up some momentum starting with Columbus tonight. That'd be good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Geeky was out for a couple games too,
right.
So that's gonna be a big help on the lines. DeBrusque got a second goal.
They need a lot from him. He just needs to be better.
If he doesn't produce, I think this team is an absolute first round exit. I don't think it's even a question. I think it doesn't matter who they play. They rely way too much on Pasta to do too much, and Jake DeBrusque needs to be that secondary scoring guy with Marchand and probably, I'd say Coyle in the playoffs, but it might be Matty P too.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the other points I want to bring up too. Is Matty P's looking after the last two games? He's kind of looking a little like David Krejci, where he's trying to do too much with the puck, turning it over, not making good plays. I was a little disappointed to see that. And my last point, anyway, from the Rangers game is that stick check of Jacob Trouba to Trent Frederick's head. No penalty, first of all. No suspension, second of all. And he only comes away with a $5,000 fine, which is the most that you can be fined. It's a horrible, horrible call. Like 10 minutes later, go down the ice. Same exact thing happens where I forget who it was on the Bruins. Did it to one of the Rangers players. I haven't seen anything that's come away from that, but the Bruins player went to the box. They didn't, send Trouba to the box. And the thing that really gets me going on this one is one of the referees was literally standing right there in the line of sight of Trouba doing that, and they didn't call a penalty. Horrible officiating on that, and I'm not gonna get started on the officiating because I'll just go down a rabbit hole, and we don't want that right now.
Yeah, brutal stuff, really. We'll move into our last team today, the Boston Celtics, coming up with a good win against the Bucks. That one was on the calendar, and I called it last week. I already knew it. They were going to beat the Bucks. They were going to lose the Magic. And sure enough, the Orlando Magic have won 7 straight. They were the bottom feeder of the Eastern Conference for a long time. They're currently the number 2 seed, I think, above Philadelphia.
Seriously?
I don't know if that was a power ranking or what, but I'm pretty sure on the standings, the Orlando Magic are surging right now. Mo Wagner, Franz Wagner are together, and then Jalen Suggs, who had a great game in college way back, he's looking better. Markelle Fultz, they've kind of acquired these, and Paolo Banchero, these pieces, and they're peaking at the moment. And the Celtics, they get in trouble when they just try to shoot the lights out. Jaylen Brown just looking terrible day in and day out lately. Shaky stuff for the Celtics. How are we feeling on them?
I'll go first here, I think. I watched the Bucks game. It was I personally I was kind of I was a little disappointed in it because the Bucks just weren't looking as good as they have been in past seasons, or in previous seasons. So that was a little disappointing to me. I thought it was going to be a little bit more. It was a competitive game, but I thought it was going to be a little more competitive. I thought it was going to be a little more back and forth. But the Celtics started off to a roaring. I think it was like a 16-point lead, 15-point lead, something like that, before the Bucks even got their first points. And in games past, like it would be like a 5-3, 10-8 kind of game. And then I didn't really watch the other two, but a little disappointing. But I think the more and more we get into the season, the further we get into the season, the two Causeway teams are starting to get a little more humbled now. And really, it comes down to coaching in the end. So, coaches, figure it out, get your teams winning again.
I think it's really cool to see that all these people wanting to push threes around and push shooting, when I think the biggest leap that your team can make is on the defensive end. The Rockets and the Magic, the two most improved teams, best top 5 defenses each one. I mean, if you focus on the defensive end, if you're not giving up as many points, you're not worrying about offense as much. Yes, every team would love to shoot the lights out like Golden State or have superstars like Boston. But I think that if even those superstar teams focused more on defense, and it was evident with the Warriors when they needed to, they had Draymond Green and those guys really step up. But these younger teams, like the Rockets last year, didn't really focus on defense as much, and they lost a lot of games. This year, Ime Udoka, a defensive mastermind, comes in and they're instantly better because they play more defense and they care more on that side of the ball. Celtics this year, I think they're better defensively than they were last year. And I think it's showing as well. I think they're better around the rim and on the perimeter. I haven't watched as many games lately, but the games that I have watched, I can tell that there's a defensive intensity that wasn't there last year, because I think that Drew Holiday and Kristaps has really brought that to them. And Drew Holiday knows how to win a championship, and he can bring that. I think he's slowly becoming the leader of this team. Same with Porzingis. I think they're getting more comfortable. But, I mean, defense wins championships in every sport, I'd say. And even with, I hate to be crossing over sports, but the Rangers, you saw how many big plays they made in the World Series, and it won them that. So I think in every sport, defense will win a championship or at least contribute to it.
Andrew Wiggins neutralized Jason Tatum in the finals, and Tatum was a non-factor. He had him downloaded, and the Celtics' best player could not do a thing. So you're right, and defense leads to transition buckets and easy points for basketball. So hopefully with that, the Celtics can turn around that defense. I'm not sure who they're playing this. I think it's Cleveland.
Well, now, and they're also dealing with Porzingis being hurt now too.
But it was only a scare, which was much better.
Yeah,
right.
I think Porzingis should be back this week.
They're playing the Bulls tomorrow.
Chicago, and then probably Cleveland later this week. That's what I saw. So
yeah, Chicago, and then the 76ers on Friday. Then they get 11 days off.
Oh, I don't know what I was thinking about Cleveland.
I don't know why they're getting 11 days off, but
that's a long time, but that is strange. But anyways, with that, hopefully the Celtics can start some momentum building off of a loss in a tournament game against the Orlando Magic. We'll see what happens. Take care, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.